Is Italy going to start lifting restrictions in early May? There's talk in the media that Italy is going to start lifting restrictions from the 4th of May, as long as new cases and deaths of the virus continue to fall. All Italians are asking, when's Italy going to be open? Before anyone can answer that, please subscribe to the Expat Essentials for Italy YouTube channel, and then click the bell icon to avoid missing out on important news and further videos on life in Italy. And feel free to share the video and link, too. Plus, if you watch the video to the very end, you'll be able to gain access to a special bonus to help you create videos like this. The Italian economy, the third most powerful in the EU, relies on inward tourism, and exporting its vast array of natural and man-made products. Both of these arms of its economy are paralysed, forcing the country to a standstill. And it all boils down to their health service not being able to cope with a pandemic. All countries are suffering this fate, not just Italy. The idea is that, as long as new cases can be isolated and dealt with, and more importantly, that the health service can comfortably cope with, then Italy will start on the path of allowing businesses to open, and for people to move around more freely. An announcement is expected from the Prime Minister, Giuseppe Conte, this coming weekend, which will be after an EU summit of member states has taken place, in the next day or two, on funding measures. Businesses are pressurizing the Italian government to allow them to open after the most stringent restrictions in Europe were imposed. Understandably, Conte is erring on the side of caution, as the last thing anyone wants is for the virus to spike out of control again. With the economy expected to shrink by about 9%, this is the worst economic crisis since the Second World War. Already, an additional €50 billion is earmarked to be released to the economy at the end of April, on top of the €25 billion released last month. However, relationships between the southern European countries of Spain, Portugal, Greece and Italy are at loggerheads with their northern European counterparts, led by Germany, over the nature of the funding, and the conditions attached for the repayment of loans to the EU are placing further strains on the EU itself. It remains to be seen if the upcoming EU meeting impacts on Italy's ability to start lifting restrictions on its own people. But, is there a more underlying problem about to explode if the lifting of restrictions is delayed? Consider the following. 1. Italy has a very colorful history, with communists and fascists always jostling for power. 2. Coalition governments are the norm for Italy, and political stability has never been its strong point. 3. The Italian people are getting restless, having seen their liberties taken away from them overnight. 4. Resentment against the EU is building, whilst fear of the future is gripping Italians to the point that frustration is reaching boiling point. And because Italy is a relatively young country, it's worth a quick history lesson to emphasize the unique problems it faces. 1. Italy's unification of 1861 pitched the wealthy north of the country against the poorer south, and there's a fear that old wounds are being opened up. 2. The virus has highlighted economic discrepancies and social inequalities in the economic and health systems, government, and local communities. 3. The emergence of armed guards of wealthy landowners in the south all those years ago is said to have been the start of organized crime, thereby being a major factor in keeping the south poor in comparison to the north. And 4. Throw in some weak and complicit politicians, and Italy soon became notorious for shady dealings, corruption and gang violence, with politics being at the center of it all. It's reported that the health system in the south is so poorly funded that some patients are forced to travel to the north for treatment. Fortunately for the south, deaths to date have been about 2,000 compared to nearly 25,000 in the north, so the main issue would appear to be more of an economic one than a health one at the moment. Here's why. 1. It's reckoned that nearly 4 million people work in the black economy, where they're not registered by the government, and so are paid cash in hand. 2. Because of that, those people are not entitled to any government handouts, including medical services. 3. Most of that 4 million are in the south. So, not being able to work is a double whammy. But the pain doesn't stop there. Consider the following. 1. Because many workers are therefore working illegally for businesses that are illegal themselves, organized crime is taking a hold. 2. For example, it's reported that volunteers delivering food to the needy are taking the opportunity to sell drugs and extort donations to help the poor from shop owners who have not yet succumbed to the effects of their businesses closing down. Is it any wonder that the pandemic has brought all of these shortfalls to light? As someone once said, when the tide goes out, you'll soon see who's not wearing swimming trunks. Italy is facing a very uncertain future, owing to 1. It has no control over its future because it's tied into the EU. 2. It's relying on funding from the EU. 3. The South is in an economic stranglehold. And 4. The North continues to struggle to contain the virus. For all Italians, the 4th of May cannot arrive soon enough. To keep up to date with snippets of daily key news items and expat life in Italy, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and click the bell icon to ensure you don't miss out on future updates, and watch the video to the very end where you can access more videos from the end screen on expat life in Italy. Plus, don't forget to check out the special bonus to help you create videos like this, in the description box below this video. Thanks for watching. Here are those videos coming up. Until next time, ciao for now.